the world is interconnected already. What they call Pax Romana, Roman peace. That there's a lot of roads where people can communicate. People can do business. And today, brothers and sisters, I will share to you a letter of Paul in his experience in the Corinthian church. Because probably God has impressed on me that this will help us understand what giving is all about. You know, some of the first Christian churches flourished in the Eastern Mediterranean. And one of them was Corinth. You know, Paul has a tempestuous relationship with the Corinthian church because of the lot of problems in this church. But here, you know, sometimes pag may mga problema, there are problems, troubles in the church, it actually helps us to understand God's purpose and idea of what we do in the church. Kasi nalilinawan dahil dun sa mga sulat ni Paul yung kanyang what is the idea of God. Amen? And during those times, actually, the book of Corinthians is the chapter that we are studying in Kuya Boy and Ate Senny's house. It has been years that we are studying it kasi last year pa namin pinag-aaralan. So we're done with chapter 16. Yeah, chapter 16. Actually, chapter 16 has some of the ideas about giving in the study that we will hear tonight. And you know, because of those times that we learned, I also learned during the Bible study that there was a faction in the church. You know, some they like, because people sometimes they don't go after the message, but they go after the preacher. Some say I like Paul, I like Apollos because, you know, Apollos is a very good preacher. You know, we don't know about Paul, but one thing we know is one time when Paul was preaching, that one in upstairs was sitting and hearing him speak, but fell down because he fell asleep. So we don't know what that means. And some have overemphasis on some spiritual gifts. You know, the Corinthian church, they are a church where they emphasize their spiritual gift, that I have the knowledge, I have the spirituality in speaking in tongues. So any spiritual gift, they try to brag. And also, that is also in this church, there is also this problem of the false teachers. Because, you know, Christianity is new, and when they don't have the Bible, they only have the Old Testament, the scriptures to read. And so people can be deceived by the kind of teaching that Paul is giving, because some other teacher may preach something that is not biblical. Fortunately for us, buti na lang tayo, brothers and sisters, we have the opportunity to at least have the Bible. Lahat ba kami may Bible?
Amen.
Bro, yung Bible. We have the apps, right? So that's the good thing. Before, the problem was people don't have the book. That's why they have nowhere to rely on their study of the Word. But now it's different. We have the Word, we have the Bible, we have the apps, we have the PC, right? We have all that, but people are sometimes lazy to read it. So that's the problem now. And you know, brothers and sisters, I'm a little reluctant to preach about giving because of the that problem that the church has regarding giving. But anyway, this is the subject, so this is the one we have to talk about, right?
Amen.
So one of the things that Paul was accused of was preaching for money. Isa yun sa mga naging accusation ng mga false teachers that, the reason why Paul was preaching because he just want money. And we know some of us who are studying the book of Corinthians will see what really Paul is and how he is faithful to the gospel and to the Lord Jesus Christ. And here, brothers and sisters, we will study 2 Corinthians chapter 8. And the chapter before that was about the theology of the Lord Jesus Christ. And actually, chapter 8 and 9 seem to be like one subject. Parang isa lang isang subject. Because it's about the giving. It is about the giving of the poor people in Macedonia to the poor churches in Jerusalem. As a background for this giving, it was not only here that Paul got that idea. Actually, kung babalikan natin from previous letters of Paul or previous letters from the apostles, if you go to Acts 11, you will see here that the church of Antioch first had the idea, the program to give a relief to the people in Jerusalem. Kasi nga nung time na yun, there's so much persecution in the church and people are losing their job. Kasi pag nalaman na Christian ka, tanggal ka sa trabaho. Hindi kaya nga, kahit hindi ka Christian, tanggal ka sa trabaho. Di ba? So, but back then, that was the persecution that is happening. And, the Jews has a very strong culture based on the Old Testament. And not only had they have a problem dun sa persecution ng ibang tao, but also, there is persecution within even the family. From Jew and Christians. So within the family. Did some of you experience that? Your family belong to a certain religion, and then suddenly when you change yours, it feels like you are being persecuted. Diba? Maybe some of us have experienced that, right? Na may kakilala ako, sabi niya, basa ka ng Bible, wala kang mapapala dyan. I have a friend who is like that. I know he is a pastor now, but back then when he was a young Bible believer, he was being, even his own family, his dad. Because his dad wants him to do something else, but he wants to, his ambition was to be a pastor or a preacher. And Paul has a very good strategy because yung gusto rin niya is to unite the Jews and the Gentiles as one. Because if you remember, Paul and Peter, if you read from previous letters, that there seemed to be a division that is going on between the Jews and the Gentiles. Right? Because remember when Peter was with the Jews, they were eating, and then suddenly, I think Paul came in. And then Peter immediately got up and, he seemed to, ayaw niya makita na nandun siya. Something like that. But here, brothers and sisters, Paul had the idea to unify the whole church into one. Sana gano'n din tayo. That is so sad really that even in Christianity itself, that we are so divided that we cannot have one word, but so many people had so many ideas and interpretation of the Bible. I hope that God will unify us, that we are all Christians, right?
Amen.
Baga, isa lang naman pinaniniwalaan natin, right? We only believe in one God and one Lord, right? So here you see, brothers and sisters, you see from the map there, Corinth is at the lower part of now Greece. That is the Achaean church. And you see the Macedonian church is the one on upper part of the map, Macedonia. Now Macedonia is composed of the churches of, you see there, Berea, Thessalonica, and Philippi. So probably you will see that in the New Testament you will see the book of Philippians, the book of Thessalonians, and well, we don't know why there's no book of Bereans. Maybe it was lost or something, that it was not included in the canonical text. Now, brothers and sisters, in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, it is about the collection to the Lord's people. And it is surprising that Paul did not immediately tell the Corinthian church that, you have to give. But when he started the letter, he started with talking about the grace of God. Sabagay, kung iisipin nga naman, before that anyone can give, we have to think about the grace of God, right? Because the reason why we give is because of what God has given to us. It's like we are giving, it's like an overflow of gratitude of what God has done for us. That's why I said sometimes I have reluctance in preaching about giving because of the abuse that some of the church has done to the people. And I think that, when it comes to giving and asking for money, sometimes it becomes a problem, especially to the unbelievers, right? Because